Hello, everyone. Um, I am very excited for today. This is going to be a lot of fun. Hello, good morning. It is presently day 4 of ArvCon 2022 on this channel. Um, I have been eagerly awaiting the catastrophe that's about to take place today. Suffice to say that I am quite a bit frazzled, but that's because I think that the games that we have planned today are going to be a great deal of fun. Um, Let me just come over here so you can see me. And you can see um, a thing behind me that I will get to just now. Um, Uh, Thank you so very much for joining us yet again for ArvCon. As we continue to support the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. Thank you so very much for all of you lovely people already raising $5,000 plus. Oh my god, am I still muted? I thought I was just hearing myself. Um, that's weird. I hear me. Um, I'm hearing me in the stream as well. I have no idea what else could possibly be happening. Please correct me if that is not the case. If no one else is hearing me, then it means okay, cool. I was like, am I losing it? How am I hearing me and no one else can? But okay, cool. But yes, thank you, Arv. It is absolutely imperative that you check in whenever you cannot hear me for whatever reason, because sometimes I have these issues. So thank you so very much. Um, not only for being here to let me know whether you can hear me or not, but having these strange friends on to do some more weird RPG shenanigans because today is going to be particularly ridiculous. Um, Thank you again, as I was saying, to everyone who has already donated and shared this stream and been in the chat for us to get to this milestone. We're hoping that we can add another uh, pile of cash to that very soon today so we can continue to support the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation and the work that they do. So, if you want to find out more information about that, that's exclamation point DRCRF in the chat. Um, to find out more about the foundation itself and exclamation point donate if you would like to support the cause. We still have a great deal of giveaways yet planned, all of the specifics of which I actually do not know anything about. So I am going to be as surprised as you are when a thing happens in the chat for you to be to get an opportunity to win some uh very cool stuff, including some very cool games. But for that to happen, we need to hit some milestones first and foremost. So please donate to the foundation so we can continue to support the work that Damon Runyon is doing. Hashtag FCancer. In fact, no. Today's game um, totally out of field for most Arvan Elrond content. We're probably going to be swearing a lot. Exclamation point. Uh, so hashtag fuck cancer. And it's very important that we continue to do the work to ensure that we can potentially resolve this issue for the rest of the world. So, exclamation point donate if you want to support the foundation. Please give as you can. I know that this is um donation season, so some of us are double and triple dipping in our favorite Twitch streams, but if you can give, please give as generously as you can to the foundation so we can support the work that they're doing. So today the strange friends and I have something particularly curious planned. We spent several weeks just like flipping through games that we wanted to play because the list of games that the strange friends wants to play and be as chaotic as possible in is very large. But today we decided that we would play the Grant Howitt one-page RPG Stone the Crows, um, because birds. If you know these strange friends very well, you know we have a very strong affinity to birds. I'm very excited to share that with you all, and that means that I'm very excited to introduce you to all of my strange friends as I come over here. so I can interrupt all of these lovely people while they were having whatever intelligent conversation that I just randomly interrupted. Um, so I can come over to this screen and you can see all of my strange friends. Hello everyone. How are all of these clever corvids doing today?
How much of this stream is going to be an unintentional shout out to fellow actual play team Clever Corvids Productions?
Just a little bit. Um, so much of the TTRPG community has an affinity to birds. Actually, that is like, if I make another reference, it's probably purely by accident. Um, but yes, all of my lovely strange friends are here this evening or this morning, actually. Um, so we can play a wonderful game of Stone the Crows. Um, if this overlay is very janky, it's because I made it. So please don't judge me too harshly. But yes, we're going to get into some shenanigans. But first, I would like to ask all of my strange friends to please introduce yourself to all of the lovely people in chat by telling everyone who you are, what you do, and what bird you will be playing today. Starting with Valerie.
Hello, hello, strange friends. I am Valerie Valdez. I am the author of Chilling Effect, Prime Deceptions, and the forthcoming Fault Tolerance, all found family space operas that pair extremely well with Michael R. Underwood's books. Oh, shocking. You can find me on Twitch at The Kids Are Asleep. That's also what I am in chat. And today I'm playing the Jackdaw.
Nice. Next, Mike.
Hi, I'm Michael R. Underwood. I go by Mike basically everywhere. He, him for me. I have a copy of Fault Tolerance because Harper Voyager sent it to me, and it makes me very happy because I love these books very much. Um, my latest novel is Annihilation Aria, which pairs very well with Valerie's books. And in just about a week or so, I am reissuing my debut series, Geekomancy, about fandom as a magic system. I'm very excited for that. I co-host Speculate with Brandon and Greg, aka Arv, the host here for ArvCon, and stream video games sometimes. And today I will be playing Maximilian the Magpie.
Aha, nice. Next, Yoy.
Hello, hello, Yoigo Lin, game and fiction writer. A much shorter list of credentials than my story friends on either side of me. No, not on either side of me. On one side of me in the layout. I don't know which side that would be for the rest of you. But today I shall be playing the Rook, who insists on being called Lady because they wear it well.
Nice. And last but not least, Iori.
Kusano Iori, Clarion West class of 2017. Find me on Twitter at Iori Kusano, at kusanoiori.com. And you can always find me on the Skiffy and Fanty Network, where Brandon and I podcast together about Kamen Rider and about anime. You can also fight me on Master Duel, because I am a duelist. Today, I am going to be playing the J.
Nice. Professional duelist Yuri Kusano. Still insisting that people fight them online. And as for
Fight me, cowards!
And as for me, I am Brandon O'Brien. I will be the GM, or rather, the owl for today's game. I am one of the co-hosts of Speculate alongside Mike and Greg. So you will find me here on a regular basis. GMing, among other things, Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire, which will be coming very soon in June, with another episode very, very soon. Um, and you can find me in all kinds of other places as well. But today, I am not going to talk about the places where you can find me, because we're going to focus on the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation and also on the Tower of London, which we're probably going to destroy. But that means that we have to get into the action of today's game of Stone the Crows. So we begin with a prologue that does not feature birds, sadly. It does feature uh, a husband and wife and their very young son, um, who have decided to take a vacation to London and have decided to visit the tower and do the weird, cheesy tourist stuff that everybody does, including but not limited to harassing one of the guards right outside the door for a photograph and being very weirdly amused by the fact that none of those guards will actually speak to them. Um, when, as this very young child is taking several selfies in front of one of the doors of the tower, like full peace signs, tongue sticking out of their mouth, a bird poops on their tongue. Um, if you've ever responded in shock to the act of being pooped on in the mouth, you know that none of the immediate decisions that you make are going to be very good or safe decisions. And this child is going through it in this moment, trying to figure out what to do before just kind of like grabbing his tongue with his hand and wiping it off. It's very weird and very bad. And then he turns to his mom and goes, "Why are there so many birds here, mom?" Um, and his mother starts laughing at him. um, the dad goes, "That's not funny," and like takes out a handkerchief from his back pocket and is like cleaning his child's face. Um, while the mother, somehow very amused by all of this in a way that is kind of unreal, starts rambling about the fact that there are so many birds in the Tower of London. Um, and eventually uh, turns to her husband and goes, "Well, I mean, they have to be here, right? Or else London is doomed or something, right?" Um, the husband raises an eyebrow and goes, "Wait, what? What? What are you talking about?" And she says, "Yeah, like, if there are no ravens in the Tower of London, then Britain will fall, or some kind of crap, right?" And the husband goes, "Okay, do you want to take any more pictures, or should we go get breakfast now?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm done taking pictures." Turns to her iPhone, has just snapped like 80 photos. Um, and they turn to their son and go, "Do you want to get something to eat?" The son nods very eagerly, and they walk away from the Tower of London. And the camera pans along their route to a park in Marylebone, where 4 birds are presently being fed. Um, I would like to hear first from the magpie.
Hello.
Um, you are perched on the armrest of a bench in this park, where an old lady is looking at you very intently. You can get the impression that she's never fed a bird before, because she bought an entire loaf of bread and has left the entire loaf of bread in front of you and is waiting to see what you are going to do.
So I think the magpie has it's like uh, all black feathers except for like a curved layer of blue kind of along the middle of the wings, which is fairly subtle when the wings are kind of collapsed in, and the magpie like kind of hops over and then makes precision beak punctures it like a couple of inches from the end of like a baguette, so that then there is a chunk that's small enough that he can jump up and use talons to kind of rip it apart and then grab a chunk in the beak. Look again at the lady, like, "What are you doing?" And then like hop off to a bench.
Okay. This old lady seems kind of like saddened by the fact that you have left, like just abandoned this pile of bread and her to take this one small chunk and like flutter off. But seems madly content with the fact that she has succeeded in feeding you. And just kind of sits there and watches you like peck at this small strip of bread. Um, at a nearby bench, um, two young women have like this small plastic bag of bird seed. Um, also seemingly having never fed birds before, but are like, this would be a cool date, right? If we just kind of gathered around birds. And just kind of like scattering seed in front of them, um, on the walkway right in front of the bench where they are sitting, um, where they have gotten some of the attention of uh, a nearby rook.
Sup?
Um, as they're throwing seed on the ground, what do you do?
Um, I walk over leisurely, casually. My left leg has a band on it because I am part of a social experiment, as bestowed on me by the big ones. I do not know for what purpose, but I am here. So I go, and I just leisurely walk one way in front of them, then walk the other. I try to determine in my mind what they are trying to think of me.
You immediately get the impression that they are not actually focusing on you at all. Like these two women are obviously like quietly flirting at each other with furtive glances and just using the pretense of being at the park as an excuse to be present in each other's space. Um like as you are just kind of standing there, they one of them takes like a small fistful of seed and throws it, and they throw it right at you, right in your face, just splash. Um, and they don't even notice that it's happened yet. Um, but a fellow bird notices that you've just been hit in the face. Um, and a jackdaw who you have never met struts up to you.
No, no, no. You're doing this all wrong. Let me help you. She goes and she retrieves a bottle cap
Mm-hmm.
and she brings it back and puts it on the bench next to the women. And then she proceeds to eat some of the birdseed that's on the ground.
When you put the bottle cap on the bench, they both start clapping as if they've seen the like most delightful cherry thing in the entire universe. And like it's the one moment that you have like the one moment this entire morning that has broken this like facade of being in this park for them. And you maintain their attention for a little bit as they just kind of murmur to themselves how cute and serene it is to be in this park among these birds. Um, and then they just go back to quietly flirting with each other again. Um, lady, how do you feel about watching this scene take place?
Lady watches all of this happen. And Lady nods with the wisdom of someone who has seen some shit. And Lady says to this jackdaw friend who has come, "Ah, I was a gambler, just like you."
Jed, no, the gifts, you have to give them a thing. It is a part of the human custom. You exchange one thing for another thing. They like it when it's a shiny thing. I don't know why, but they really like it that way. And they will give you more food.
They do. They do.
Maximilian, do you witness this scene taking place?
Well, certainly, a good thief always has a keen eye tuned to their entire surroundings. But I've already been well fed, given that I've, in the time that all of this has transpired, procured several of the shiny discs from the pocket of the elderly lady, which I will later exchange for goods and services with a very amused corner merchant.
Uh-huh. Nice. Um, so while all of this is happening, while you are all uh eating and being mildly amused by how weird and peculiar and hollow-brained some humans can be, um, AJ slowly enters the park.
No, 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 no. Ain't nothing slow about it, buddy.
Well, true. Because you're technically on a mission at this moment. You know a thing that these birds don't know.
Oh, yeah. What I know is that I got mouths at home to feed. I am going in. I'm getting a slice of that bread because bread is a sometimes food, and the babies this year haven't enjoyed this absolute miracle treat yet.
Mm-hmm.
We're dive bombing this fucking loaf of bread, man.
Okay. I feel like this is the first moment of the game then that we have to actually um do a thing.
Brandon, would you like to explain the mechanics of this game to the audience at home, please?
I would. As you can see in the overlay, this RPG does not use dice to resolve actions. It instead uses a deck of playing cards. So, whenever someone would like to perform an action, the GM must decide how difficult the action will be in a rating of 1 to 3 cards. And will, as a result, select a card that will represent the difficulty that the play essentially needs to resolve, and that player can then um, play up to 3 cards of the same suit in an attempt to beat the number that the GM has given them. So I will come over here to pick a card. Oh no. I have noticed if you uh in the thingy in deckofcards.net you will see that there is a small rectangle in front of you underneath the button that says connected that will allow you to put those cards in your hand and see them yourself without me having to see them. Um so if you do not have anything in your hand at the moment, I would probably recommend doing so. Because I think Mike already has.
I'm sorry, the button is under connected?
Yeah, there is a small.
And the button is not the one that says new?
No, if you just take your
And
cards and
certainly
draw
it
them
is
in
not the one that says chips, and it is not the one that says sort. So I may not have a button.
Aha!
You click and drag.
let me do
Oh.
those things for you. Aha.
Oh, that's very exciting and strange.
It is. This system is not a perfect system,
And
but
oh
not
my
a
the
god, it
cards are
just lets
moving
you
very
hang
fast.
on. It just lets you assign cards to anybody as you please, all willy-nilly. So I don't think I even got all my cards out the same pile because you were handing me some from a different pile. This is exciting. I love it. Chaos energy.
This is going to be reckless and ridiculous, and I love it. But I'm gonna, because that card was already there, I'm just gonna leave that there. Um, but I would like to ask you first. As the J, you have a specialty in a certain kind of action. What kind of action is that?
That is distractions.
So while that is very useful, it is not necessarily useful in this moment because you're doing the thing, so you cannot distract while also doing the thing. So in this attempt of thievery, you will be mildly challenged. So I'm gonna say that the difficulty is 2 cards.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so because if I am not mistaken, this is not a thing that right, because this is not a thing that you are, because this is not a skill that you are talented in, um you will have to select your cards before I show you what you beat. So if you have any number of cards in the same suit that you would like to play to resolve this action, now would be a good time to reveal them. By
Must they
just
be match suited?
um, they must be matched. They must match suit in order for you to play more than one card.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Ooh, a 2 and a 5 equals 7. Um, which is good because all I had was 6. Um, who are you stealing from? You're stealing the large loaf of bread, I presume?
There is just a loaf of bread on the ground, and I just want a hunk of that to take home.
Okay, cool. Um, you dive bomb this like mildly tattered but still intact loaf of bread. Um,
It's about to get a lot more fucking tattered.
and you lift it up and you are free to take off with this loaf of bread as you please. Um,
Oh yeah, I book it.
and as you do that,
And and I will leave everyone in awe of my glorious blue plumage.
oh yes, you don't really, like, you are not noticing it, but everybody else notices that a great deal of the humans in this crowd are like, wow, that bird just stole a whole loaf of bread, just took off with it. Um, like, a 10-year-old takes out their cell phone and is like recording the video of you just taking off this loaf of bread in your claws. And that's when you remember, even though you are still hungry, and even though this bread is still obviously very necessary, you remember that you were invited to this park for a reason.
Ah, shit.
Um, there is an owl in this park, in a tree in this park. Um, his name is Cray. And he specifically reached out to you because even though he does not like you and does not trust you, he needs to put together a crew and is hoping that at least this once you will be mature enough to help him actually pull off this job, and has asked you to meet 3 birds and invite them to his tree.
Mature. Mature, he fucking says. I'm a goddamn father, for fuck's sake. But Jeremy J
Mm-hmm.
stashes the bread safely in a dead drop. He's got an arrangement with some of the squirrels in this park. Because Jeremy J lives in the eaves of a Chinese takeaway about 3 minutes from here as the crow flies. He's got a nice little exchange going. Brings cashews to the squirrels. Pays rent on storage space that way.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So.
So he drops his bread at his storage space.
Mm-hmm.
And he wheels back around in a display of glorious iridescent blue wings to meet these three birds.
As Jeremy J comes wheeling around, Lady looks over at his new jackdaw friend, because everyone is Lady's friend, and Lady is everyone else's friend. And Lady says, that one's got a zest for life.
So we fast forward a bit to the four of you now in the hollowed hole of a tree further down in this park, where a large tawny owl is just pecking away at a sheet of paper in front of him, with like what looks to be a small like piece of lead that was pulled out of a wooden pencil. It's just like scratches away at it. You have no idea what weird scratches he's making on this piece of paper, but he's very deliberately and like intensely focused on this piece of paper. And then puts the lead down, turns to you all, and opens his wings. Friends, not every day I have someone in this hole of mine. I'm grateful to Jeremy that finally I can ask you to do something for me and you can do it on time and without incident.
Slander. Fucking slander.
You said that like the last time I saw you get in a scrap with two ravens on the side of the road when I just asked you to pick up just like a pile and a half of seed. That's all I asked you to do. You got in a whole fight. I had to clear it up. Internet is doing a thing. It's I apologized. Um I have returned. But uh after Cray bickers a little bit about previous issues that he has had with Jeremy and Jeremy's work in the past, he goes, today is not the time to be dwelling on the past at the moment. Today we have a very big job planned. I've summoned all of you here because I trust all of you and consider you all marginally capable enough for a particularly tricky piece of business. How familiar are you with the Tower of London?
I know where it is.
Where? I guess that's information enough. Do you know what's in it?
Rocks, swans, and humans.
Only the greatest score a bird could hope to claim.
Oh? And,
The
Cray
shiny of
turns...
shinies, ancestral shinies.
Cray turns to you, Max, and is, rubbing his wings. So you know about the shinies inside there, yes? Have you seen them?
Well, I've only heard them spoken of. The magpie that showed me the ropes, you might say, told about a friend of hers who tried the shiny score, uh, ended up wings clipped and relegated to a rather low rent park. But the story she tells about the shine of those gems.
I've been told it's something to behold. Quite a mystery indeed how these humans manage to get so many shinies in the same place. Or what some of those shinies are even capable of. And I've heard some majestic things about what those shinies are capable of. But I've also heard that those shinies are part of a decadent and ruinous legacy. You know about the ravens inside that tower, right? That they have 6 or 8 of them that they literally pick the feathers from. That's part of the shiny magic, I've been told. And today we're gonna wreck some of that magic. And for that, I need some of your help. I need 2 things out of that tower. And once we get them, you can tear them apart however you need, and you can take as many of those shinies as you want. And I will also pay you. Oh god.
The tower's security jackdaws are trying to screw with Lady.
Yes.
Don't blame this on us.
But yes. So you can take your share of the shinies out of what you find. I have seed enough to pay you. In fact, and he brings out 4 small baggies of seed and offers you in advance. Don't spend it all at once. I've been told there are some birds inside there you may need to sweeten the pot for if you're supposed to get safe passage inside there. Um, but suffice it to say that once you get these 2 things for me, your own lives will be set. In fact, you will be heroes of all bird kind. I just need you to find one funny looking hat with with a really big shiny on it, like a white shiny as big as your head. You'll know it when you see it. And this is the particularly evil part. This is why I say there's shiny magic afoot. They have an eagle inside there that they cast in gold. I need you to bring that back for me as well. Ask no questions, get the job done. I've drawn this map for you, and he hands you the scrap of paper that he was uh, pecking at. And you see an overhead map of the Tower of London. Um, nicked this off of one of the beefeaters in front. Just made some notes in the event that it would be helpful, but I couldn't get much further than just a couple of uh, talent steps away from the moat. I can't get in. If an owl is seen in the day, it's gonna be a mess, obviously. But y'all I trust. Um, you will see on the map the things that I need you to get. That funny hat is one of them. I made a note about the golden eagle as well on the other side of this piece of paper. Um, you get it for me and you'll be richer than you can ever imagine. Do I have your word?
Buddy, you got better than my word. You got my wings.
Jeremy, All you have to do is say yes, Jeremy. You see what I have to deal with? Uh, Anyway,
Sounded rather quaint.
anyway. Lots of shinies, lots of feed. You have your assignment. You can get out of this tree now. And he turns back to another piece of paper um, that he has laid on the floor of this hole that he's now scraping at with his piece of lead. Um, you see two bluebirds land on um, one of the branches right outside the hole and just kind of knock on the wood outside and goes and Cray goes, "That's my next appointment. You can get out now." And you are ushered off to begin the mission of uh, discovering how you're going to free these jewels from the Tower of London. What plan? What do you all do next?
First, I want to shout out the fact that I love that we're calling it shinies and ancestral shinies. This is the best terminology for anything ever.
Of course. Um. So.
Brandon, during the deeply miserable 9 months of my life that I spent in England, I did not spend those 9 months in London. How far actually are we from the Tower of London right now?
You are presently, like 10 blocks away. Getting there is obviously a matter of effort, but like you know
It's
where
not
you're going.
so bad,
You
but
know
we
where
gotta
you're
get
going, and
flapping.
you're not in any danger. So getting there is not the issue. Figuring out what you're going to do once you get there is going to be the issue. Um, and uh, actually, um, the jackdaw on the crew, whose name I still haven't gotten. Actually, what's your name?
My name is Chichi.
Aha. Uh, Chichi, you happen to know a thing about the humans in the Tower of London that most people don't know. Of all of the other things that you don't know about the Tower of London, you do know a couple of things about the humans and their ancestral shinies. You know that it is considered significantly important to the legacy of the land that you're flying above, that these shinies are there. You don't know much about the history of the shinies, but you know that everybody values those shinies very deeply, so you imagine that there is probably some shiny magic afoot that makes the humans value them deeply. Um, you also know um, that as a result, a small portion of humans heavily guard the tower, but you don't know anything about what like level of security is involved. You just know that you're probably going to run into a lot of humans in red robes who are probably going to make a very big deal about the birds coming and going from the tower.
Okay. First, we're going to go to the most important place around the tower. Subway. And then we're going to eat bread. And then we're going to talk about what we're going to do.
Okay.
Do you want to do a Blades in the Dark thing? Decide on our plan and then just flash forward?
I like this very much.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
think that's what we're doing.
I was tempted to say in character, all right, so we need a plan and we need a detail. But we just skip past that.
Mm-hmm. Details.
Since Chi-Chi is the mastermind in this game.
Mm-hmm. So you are all like huddled over like a discarded like 6-inch Subway sandwich like thrown on the side of the road, just
What flavor?
Oh God. This is a meatball marinara that you can tell has been there for a day and a half.
That's the sweet spot, baby.
And while you're huddled over this pile of stale bread and meat, you get to discuss what your plan of action is. You have enough information on the map in front of you, which is the same map on the overlay here, to at least plan your initial attack. Some things may come up while you are already inside, but you have some vague information about where to begin.
Okay, so the thing you have to know about humans is that they always want you to give them Chinese to get other things. And for the peoples to get inside the Tower of London, they have to give Chinese to get a paper. And then once they have the paper, they can go inside. But we are birds. And they won't give us the paper. So we have to find another way in.
Now that tower is fucking full of birds. Maybe we can blend in a little.
According to the information that you have, it is possible that you may be able to blend in with one of the local bird mafias, but you'd have to make a very good impression on them before they could just let you share space with them in that way.
I do want to note for chat right now, there are 6 available bird archetypes for this game. One of them is a raven, which would make sense for infiltrating the Tower of London, and none of us picked the raven.
Well, this is because all the ravens that we did talk to were loyalists, so we could not have them in this game.
Yeah. Ravens kinda suck. Their politics are kinda weird. Um, every once in a while you meet a raven coming from or going to the Tower of London, and they kind of talk like they're not birds. They act as if they do not believe they are birds. Um,
Now, I'm looking at this here map, see? And it seems like they're ghosts. And I would posit that ghosts are probably a better option. Because God fucking knows I don't want to tangle with those fucking swans.
The swans are very hard to negotiate with. The ghosts, they can be persuaded.
Question is, ghosts of whom?
Also, it's a lot of people, but also there are a couple of birds that did not want to leave for some reason. Most birds, by the time that they are a ghost, they don't be a ghost anymore. They go because why?
Rather conveniently, most birds are able to be their own cyclops, and it allows them to not have to dwell.
See, you understand.
I heard we reincarnate into higher beings. Don't know what gets much higher than I do, but if you've seen the altitude I catch on those thermals.
Do we wish to go under, through, or over?
Under is all full of rats. The only thing that they will maybe negotiate for is bread. They don't want the seed, and so the seed they all gave us does not help with the rats.
Jay, didn't you just snatch quite a bit of bread?
I did. We are cutting off a chunk of it for my kids. They haven't had bread before. It's a sometimes food, and I would like to give them a treat.
Okay, but listen.
There is enough. There is enough for us to bribe some rats. If bribing rats is how we want to go about this little job.
Afterwards, once we have the shinies, you can do this. Wash. I have a plan for this when I'm done. When I have my shinies, look at the subway. Every day they make a tower of bread. It's a giant stack of bread, so much bread. And do you know about subway and bread? There is a secret. Humans have a strange code of honor. If you go to Subway with a duck, they get free bread. So you use the Chinese to bread the ducks. And then you get all the bread you need.
Lady leans over to the other birds and says, that one speaks with God.
I I got some other plans for my shinies, but I'll keep that one in mind.
So rats it is it then? Does anyone have an inn with them?
No, but I will. Lady is lying, by the way. Lady's winging it. Literally.
All right, so we're doing a social plan with rats.
Yes, we are doing a social plan with rats.
Aha. And before I get
Brandon,
into
do we have to make an engagement roll?
Oh God, you are lucky enough that you do not have to make an engagement roll. You may have to get into a little bit of shenanigans before you can actually conduct your social plans. But before that happens, I would just like to shout out the anonymous donor who just gave us $500.
Whoa!
That is so many shinies. Thank you.
Hell yes. Thank you for donating to a good cause, friendo.
Oh my God, that anonymous donation is now the top donation for ArvCon 2022. Thank you so very much for supporting Damon Runyon. Um, that's rad. A reminder that there are still giveaways afoot, so if we can meet whatever milestone we have next, which I'm sure is probably going to be 6,000, some cool things will be available for you all. So definitely check that out. That's wild. I am very excited that that is happening. Please let that keep happening. But while you are all putting shinies in Tiltify, we will continue debating how we are going to engage with the shinies in the Tower of London. So, um, you are gonna make a deal with the rats, yes?
Yes.
Um,
Yes, I am, GM. Yes, I am.
so, um, the path into, um, the, like, underground, rat den where the rat mafia stays, um, is relatively easy to get to. Once you've like crossed the moat outside the tower, you can just kind of slip into any um like sewer grate, and you are already halfway on your way to the gate of the underground rat market. Um you are on your way there, just kind of trotting along in the like dimly lit uh, holes in the ground that lead to this place, and you hear a lot of scurrying and scratching. You get the impression that you are being very eagerly watched from somewhere in these like tunnels and underground pathways towards the market, but you can't tell from where. If anybody wants to make any observations about um, the space that they're in and whether they're being watched. That difficulty is 1 card.
Yes, I would like to draw to partake in this game mechanic. So I draw 3 cards, you say?
Well, you already have a hand of cards. You just need to
Yes.
play um, one or more cards from the same suit um, uh, in order to beat this challenge. And your skill is what again?
My skill is social.
Uh-huh. This may be useful very soon, but it is not immediately useful. So you will play your cards first.
And I have another one.
Ah, a 9. A 9 definitely beats a 3.
Oh,
Jeremy J, aware that he is being watched wherever he goes, because his wings are just that pretty, will abstain from this draw. What about the rest of the team?
I feel like the magpie would be on the lookout for guards or surveillance or something.
mm-hmm. You are a thief after all.
Always know your exits.
Mm-hmm,
Uh-huh. I will give it to you both. A success is a success. Because you Max, because you notice that lady is looking around, you start looking around as well. And that's when you notice it is not so much that you are in a very tight underground passage where you may or may not be surrounded by rats. It is that you are walking in a very large, very dark passageway where you are surrounded by rats. And they've just been otherwise keeping very still and chittering around you because they're like, oh, look, birds. You've gotten in fights with some rats before on a job. Um, so you know that if a rat is determined to kill a bird, it can. Um, but you've never dealt with anyone in the market before, so you don't know their temperament. You just know you're a stranger in their space. Um, and then one of those rats um, actually steps out in front of you all. Uh, and like just as they step in front of you, that's when you notice that all of the chittering and scratching in this walkway stops. And and the rat goes, "Where you lot going?"
uh, lady is a lady of many accents and a lady of many sounds. So lady makes the rat chitter that means hello and says in the speak that goes across all animals, because that's how this works now. My sibling in blood and heartbeats, we go on our way to fight God.
Okay. Um. So difficulty would be uh. No, yeah. I was gonna say your difficulty would be 3 cards, but because you're social, it comes down to 2 cards. But because your skill is social, I get to show them first. I get to show my cards first.
Oh,
Unfortunately, a king and a jack is, according to these rules, if I'm not mistaken, 24 points.
Does the GM not have to match suit?
The GM does not have to match suit, apparently. They just play the cards that
Yikes.
they drew.
However, if we have additional cards of the same suit in our hand, we can play them as an assist.
You can, yes.
so I can play as many cards as I like, correct?
Of the same suit, yes.
Then I would like to play all the cards I have in a particular suit.
Okay.
Behold, my friends.
Okay, this is um 12,
Plus 11
23.
plus 6. You actually didn't need to throw that 2 down there. That's really just
Yeah,
icing.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just did the thing. Okay, cool. You
This is
haven't
Lady. Lady always adds the extra 2 cents.
you have impressed on this entire crowd of rats the supreme um divine imperative to destroy God. None of them even knew that this was a goal that they cared about a half an hour ago. And suddenly, like this crowd of rats continue chittering to each other again, and then silence falls on this walkway. And then you hear them all shuffle in unison and make space for you all. Like, you realize exactly how crowded you are on this walkway when you realize that they have now all clung to the wall. And you suddenly feel like the space that you were walking in has increased fourfold. Like, there is space between you and the ceiling of this tunnel now. And you can spread your wings in this tunnel now. It's wild. Um, and the rat in front of you escorts you to the market. Um, and when you get to the market, it is the most well lit. It is doing a thing. When I return shortly, I will describe the thing. Aha! We have returned. I don't know the Tower of London is conspiring against us, but we will succeed this day. Um, so in this tunnel in the Tower of London, underneath the Tower of London, um, there is this large uh area where there are small candles that are lit, and somebody strung like maybe 4 meters of white Christmas lights on the roof of this very large underground space. And there's stale bread and dead fish, um, and there are like pieces of someone else's French toast and um, some stale chips. Someone like made a pile of what seems to be fresh Subway sandwiches in a corner where they're presently getting damp by rainwater. Um, Rats are trading piles of dirt for food and other shinies inside here. Um, and you see all of the vendor rats in this space turn to you, um, almost judgmentally, and are chittering to themselves. And then the rat in front of you goes, "No, they're with me," and brings one of its dirty paws to its chest. And everybody just continues doing their business as if they have never noticed you again. And then the rat turns to um, Lady in particular and goes, "I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine. They might be able to help you in your noble goal." Um, and he walks past several kiosks that are trading like um, stale potato wedges, um, and the crumbs of crackers and stuff, and leads you to a hole that leads to another tunnel. And that tunnel leads you to another room, where there's this very large gray haired rat that's missing its left eye, and it turns to you and opens its right eye very, very wide to take you all in, and then turns to the other rat and goes, "Cliff, you invite birds to my home. In the middle of the day, you bring these accursed vermin to my home, to our place of royalty and honor. What stupid idea did you have in mind this day that I would need to see these four pests?" And Cliff goes, "They're on a mission to destroy God." And this gray-haired rat squints at Cliff and goes, "Destroy God, you say?" Cliff nods very eagerly. As in, take the creator of every shiny and break its body on our paws. Cliff shakes his head very eagerly again. And then this rat turns to you all and goes, "How do you plan to do that?"
Okay, so there is one special shiny that we need to get. It's inside the tower.
As in above us?
Yeah.
Brandon, a point of clarification. Which of the numbers on the map are we now closest to?
You are now um between what is on the map. You are now like in the middle of that space that is between 11 and 13. You are in that large portion of market.
Thank you.
Um and this large gray rat goes, "I think I know the shinies you mean. They're further in a direction," and he just kind of points. I don't know what the humans call those things, but it's like that away. Um, but I don't know how those shinies give you power over the shiny makers. They made the shinies. The shinies are vessels of their human curses. How do you just. What do you plan to do?
When the shiny makers made the shinies, says Lady, preening their silky blue-black feathers and fiddling ever so idly with the silver band around their left foreleg. They put in the shinies their hopes and their dreams and their desires for conquest, and they look to the shinies as a totem of all these things. And when we take the shinies, their hearts will break, and their eyes will well, and their bodies will fall into the wounded space that is meant for revelations. That is how we will fight God.
Um, uh, um, right. This difficulty is one card. But because you're social, I show you first. The card I drew is a king, which is. What is that again? 12? 13. You have to beat a 13.
Enjoy whatever suit you play. Hopefully, at least one of us will be able to assist if you can't make 13. So,
Lady faces this elder rat and speaks like so. A 9 and a jack. Which I do believe beats 12.
It does. And while that is all happening, I'd also like to shout out Triffity Mats for another $20 donation. That puts us up to 56.25, and also shout out Golden Drake, who has just won our latest giveaway. Congrats to Golden Drake, who I hope is still in the chat. I have no idea what is the giveaway at this moment. I haven't even seen. I haven't been watching the chat, but no, you win the thing that I am very jealous of, and it's very apt that it's happening in our stream. You just won an Athos Arts enamel hummingbird pin. That looks very very cool, and thank you to EDE Bell for donating that pin. I saw it and I'm very jealous that someone else is getting it. But congrats to Golden Drake. I hope that you wear it well. And back to inside this tunnel. Since you have successfully proven to this rat that we're about to do the thing. The rat goes, I do know that they put their hopes and dreams in those things. I didn't think it was so powerful that we could just shatter them. But if you have faith in the thing, I will put that faith in you. This cousin of mine is a reckless soul. He tends to just be naive enough for those kinds of silly little plans, but you seem driven enough. And I mean, it's your death wish, not mine. I can give you a tunnel that will put you close enough to right outside the room where the shinies are, but other than that, you'd have to get in on your own. All I ask is that once you're in, you can't pass this way back out. I'm not putting the rest of my ratkin in danger for this mission. You will have to find another exit. Your birds, you know how to do those things, I'm sure. But and he scratches at the map that you all have near the number 3, which as you can see on the map is right outside the room where the crown jewels are, but also right outside the barracks of the beefeaters, where if you are seen, there will probably be a scene. Perhaps. And the rat turns to Lady in particular and goes, "Is that amenable? Do you take that deal? I can give you no more than that."
Lady looks around at the group, sees their assembled faces, and says, Aye, we are amenable.
All right. All I ask is that
Jay-
God dies.
Jay, who has been lugging around this huge hunk of bread, splits it and pushes the smaller chunk over to Chi-Chi, because someone else can work out their wings for a little while, and pushes the larger chunk towards the rats and says, a little sign of our goodwill, huh?
I appreciate when birds pay their debts in this space. All I ask is that God dies. If I hear that there's still a job yet to be done in that regard, I will be quite upset that you've impressed upon me this value and not succeeded. Don't succeed and I never want to see your kind in my market again. Now you may go. Cliff, lead them to the other exit. And Cliff nods again very eagerly, and they leave that tunnel and turn left to lead you to another long, um, more dimly lit tunnel than any of the ones that you've already been on. Um, it's quieter and like a lot more damp and cold. Um, but on the other end, you see like this, like weird yellowish light. Um, and Cliff goes, just out here. You just come out right in front of the door to where the shinies are. We've never tried to get much deeper than that. Those walls are kind of dangerous for us rats to tread. But um, I think y'all can pull it off if you need any minor help from me. I'll try to give it. I'm not good with doors and stuff like that, but we can try. I think I think that your mission is noble. Um, and then you just kind of pop out eventually at this like very small hole, just in front of, um, the wall, right next to the door that leads to, the room where the crown jewels are stored. I would immediately like everyone, um, to beat a one card challenge.
Oh.
Let me see if anybody has a skill that would be note. Um, in fact, because the jackdaw has smarts, you're lucky that you have a jackdaw. This is gonna be brilliant. Um, the jackdaw already knows that they need to beat an 8.
Well then.
We each individually have to beat the 8.
No, you can all assist on this. If none of you had any skills that were necessary, then you would all have to play and hope that you would beat the 8. But it's an 8. Of course, you can beat an 8. Um, see.
So this is a group draw.
Nope. Chi has already gathered enough information for you all to proceed from this point. Um, the minute that you all come up, Chi, you notice, um, like several dozens of feet away from you, you see a glint somewhere in the sky above the roof of the outer wall of the tower. And you squint at it, and you can see a human. That human.
Do I know that this human has a problem that they are holding?
Oh yeah, you know immediately that the human is a problem because you know that the human is kneeling beside an air rifle and is squinting right at you. He doesn't have his hand. His hands are not in the trigger yet. But you know that that's gonna be a scene because you can see that he can see that 4 birds and a rat just determinedly exited a hole.
I think now's the time for our J friend to do a distraction.
Oh yeah, I am all about it.
Go, little rock star!
Okay, so
Jeremy J splits off from the group, takes to the air, wings spread, making himself a big, flashy blue target. Cartwheeling and chirping and getting real cozy to the tourists, who are a little bit bewildered by the fact that this pretty bird is actually coming at him friendly like. You know, usually Blue Jays have kind of a shitty attitude. This one's kind of nice, though. He lands on a woman's shoulder as she is trying to take a selfie. He poses with her, one and wing lifted to frame her face.
Oh Lord.
This is the selfie of the decade. This woman is gonna go viral.
Everyone who has taken a selfie in this game has taken the best selfies in the universe. Right. I would like you. Let me just make sure that that's right. So, your difficulty would usually be 3 cards, but because this is your uh this is a skill that you're good at, I'm gonna drop it down to 2 and also show you that you need to beat 19.
Now, Brandon, A of all, point of clarification. Are we supposed to draw cards to replenish our hands when we work on our individual side motivations only, or after each play?
I am going to say, um, hey, actually, um, the rules are very clear about the fact that you draw when you take time to pursue your own interests. So, what is your interest then?
Jeremy J is a family man. He is a father. And he looks out for those he is with when they are in trouble, which our
Aha.
crew happens to be right now.
Yes, that's fair. So I will allow you to draw a card first.
So that would be 1 out of my 3 draw available, because pursuing your own interest gives you 3 cards.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh hoo hoo. Friends, I am in trouble. Because the best I can pull is a 14 in clubs. That's a 10 and a 4 in clubs. If anyone is available to assist,
that's
I'm
enough.
ready to hear.
Plus that queen from Valerie is enough. Oh my
Thank
god.
you, Valerie.
Ayy.
Because that is a lot, I'm gonna say a lot of things are happening all at once. So first of all, the lady whose selfie you just photobombed, um, is
You
like,
mean photo enhanced?
well, yes. This photo has been markedly improved, as a result. Um, she is surrounded by um, like 4 or 5 of her friends who are like very excited by the fact that this has happened. Um, like, some of them like clapping and giggling. Um, so they have now made this commotion around um, Jeremy and around this woman that briefly distracts the beefeater that is presently armed with a rifle. But what also happens is, in that moment when you um, raise your wing to frame this woman's face, she turns into your wing in order to like show the best side of her face, and glare from her cat's eye glasses um, bounces off into this guy's eye, and he accidentally lets off um, 2 shots of his air rifle. One narrowly misses the 3 of you all, and the other one hits the bolt of the lock on the door leading to the crown jewels, and like tears the entire doorknob off and throws it off to the floor. And now the door is swinging ajar.
Beautiful.
So this guy basically
And
rolled a
I
nat
note,
one.
and I note now that I am drawing the remaining 2 cards for pursuing my interest.
Mm-hmm.
My hand is replenished. And I'm about to become an Instagram star.
Oh God. You are in so many goddamn photos and videos in this campaign. Um, Chi Chi. The very first thing that you notice as the door is open, and in fact, Max, you notice this as well. Um, is that in the room with the shinies, there are already people. There is a small crowd of people in this room, actively looking at all of the shinies. Like 15 or 16 people just kind of shuffling about all of these large clear boxes that the shinies are inside, just kind of staring at them, pointing at them, whispering about them to the other people around them. If you want to leave with the shinies that you are tasked to leave with, you will need to either gain the trust of or distract every human in this room. Um, but you do see the funny hat that Cray mentioned, and you do see the large gold eagle. When all of you see the eagle, you are actually kind of stricken with a kind of anger or sorrow because you are absolutely convinced that that is a real eagle that somebody just put in gold. The hat also does look kind of funny, and you do note that there are lots of similarly funny hats in this place as well, but that hat has lots of shinies on it, and particularly big shinies too.
Okay. Max, you're the one who is good at the stealing of things. The thing about humans is that they are very concerned with, how do you say, rules. And so I think if maybe we can do a distraction. If the rest of us go in the line like all the rest of the people, you can probably go in and steal the things. Yes?
So we adopt the queuing habits of the humans in order
Yes.
to assert our belonging. That might get us into the room. How do we feel about witnesses? I was also thinking that it might be viable, it might be possible to create such a commotion that the humans would be ushered out.
Oh, I know a way to do that. I have seen it before. Okay, so there is a very special button. It is, you got to push it. People love pushing buttons. But this one, if you push the button, it makes them all go just bananas everywhere. It is too much for them. They don't like it because it makes a very bad noise. And sometimes the lights go. It's a spinny light.
Brandon, can I find the special button?
Do you know how to read?
So,
They
while Chichi is telling this story, Cliff like nods his head very eagerly. Like I've heard the noise too, and I've heard humans like to shuffle about whenever the noise happens. I think that the noise tells them that they have to move a lot. Um, I've
Yes, they
never s-
all go to the doors.
I've never seen the button, but I know that the button is supposed to be there's supposed to be a button like that in every room here, but I don't know what it looks like. So we'll have to get in and see. Um, and at the very mention of the idea that they should look for this button now and make all of these humans shuffle away, Cliff runs into the room.
a lady
No.
who is
Oh,
part of a sociological experiment and is thereby banded and has therefore seen many a thing, including some shit, looks to Max looks to Chi-Chi, even flicks his tail over at Jeremy J, who is currently #1 on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And Lady says, now there's an alarm, if there was any. As probably a literal sewer rat runs into the crown jewel room of the Tower of London.
Oh Lord.
Well, I do think we may have found our primary distraction.
I know, but we did not get inside first. Now it's going to be hard to get in because they're all going to be running out. We have to get in first. Bueno.
So,
Bueno.
Cliff runs in, Lady runs in, everybody follows after. It's just around the exact moment in time before Max and Chi get in that you hear lots of screaming from inside. You can feel and hear the humans are shuffling about. And you're mostly convinced, I guess we've succeeded somewhat in still doing the thing. And when you all get into the room, instead of seeing people leave the room, you're seeing some humans scatter to opposite ends of the room. While you see two other humans enter from another door into this room. One wearing the same robes as the guy on the roof with the rifle, and another wearing like dark gray overalls. And the other guy has a large broom in his hand. And you've met humans with brooms, and you know that most humans with brooms are not nice and use their brooms specifically to make life tough for you. Um, so now you have to deal with those two humans.
When the screaming begins, Jeremy takes off from that woman's shoulder as though he is spooked and beelines into this room. He is doing the classic lost bird act. Flap, flap, squawk, squawk. I am clearly alarmed, disoriented, and in a place I shouldn't be. Broomman, you got 2 targets now and you gotta pick one.
Oh lord. Right. So two things are about to happen, and I'm gonna start with the thing that obviously impacts Jeremy. Um,
I hope that meaning of
your
impact isn't literal.
your difficulty is 2 cards, but because distractions is your specialty, I'll let you know that you have to beat 7, which I'm sure you could do with 1 card right now.
Yes, yes. There we go.
um, the human with the broom is focused on you. Um, and he is swinging wildly. There is a point at which he, like, outside of bird context and in human context, the camera watches as this janitor swings so wildly and recklessly with this broom that him standing next to this god is like 6 minutes of um Three Stooges routine with just two Stooges. Um, it's almost as if he's trying to conceal contempt for this guard by swinging for this bird. Um, because the only person who's severely getting injured during this entire engagement is this guard.
Brandon, are there any windows in this room?
No, there are no windows in this room. It's just a closed brick box full of glass boxes full of shinies. Um,
Jeremy is pretending to be confused by the glass boxes because there's light. The light isn't sun. oh no, where am I?
Yeah.
He's really playing up this dumb lost bird deal.
There's light. The light isn't sun, and the only sources of the light are the corners of the ceiling and inside these glass boxes, which means that you can nudge some of these glass boxes if you want, and some of these glass boxes have the shinies that you want. Um, so before I get to your success or failure in that regard as well, I would also like um, to do a thing for the um in fact, yeah. Because this is a thing that both the magpie and the jackdaw would know. I'm just gonna say that the difficulty that would have been 2 cards just drops to 1, which is gonna be wild as hell. Because it means that you all have to beat 1.
You see, we are fated to destroy God today. So far. So far.
All right. So I have an idea for getting at least one of the big shinies.
Mm-hmm.
So as a thief, I feel like magpies are good at kind of lifting from pockets, and sometimes you need somebody to trip at just the right time. And there's a lot of chaos going on already. So I think it wouldn't be too difficult for a bird to be able to go to just the right place at just the right time to swoop by somebody's face and make them kind of stumble and fall and knock over the stand with one of the ancestral shinies, which I want to try to do as a feat of thievery and dexterity.
Also, sorry to interrupt. Brandon, did that last action I took also count as another round of looking out for my mates if they're in trouble and therefore earn me 3 cards?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
2 and 3. Which means that I will have capacity to assist if our friend Magpie needs it.
Mm-hmm. So, I am going to inform you about that thing very soon, Magpie, but the one that you're presently about to beat is for another piece of information that you will gain before you attempt to do that. Again,
Okay.
you literally just need to beat 1. There is no way that you cannot do this.
Well, I guess I will throw out a 4 then.
Nice. So when you uh enter the room, among all of the um other people scattering and responding very weirdly to all of the otherwise normal congregations of animals in this room, you notice that there is a large red box on the wall where all of the humans are gathered on the other side where they're presently screaming. Um, you don't know anything about what it says on it, um, but you imagine that if you brought it to the attention of Chi-Chi, who knows a little bit more about humans, Chi-Chi might know whether that's the button or not. It doesn't look very button-like. You've pressed buttons before. But it looks like a thing that you know that when red is in a room, it's supposed to be noteworthy, and you imagine that perhaps Chi-Chi can tell you how noteworthy that's supposed to be.
Well, my dear Jackdaw, I don't know how to read human, but I know a button when I see it. And he gestures with the wing to the button. Is that the one?
Oh, Jess, look, just you says Fire on top.
Mm-hmm. It does in fact say Fire. Um, you've seen red boxes like this where there is a button, Chi-Chi, but there is no button here. But you see it has this weird kind of thing that looks like a talon that is pointing forward,
Oh,
and you don't
Jess,
know what
it's
to
the
do.
pull kind. You got to step on it, and then you got to bounce a little.
Oh, well then, off I go.
Okay. Um. So So are you going to nudge one of the boxes, or are you now going to focus on the Fire button?
I'm going to go to the Fury button because I feel like as the magpie, my ability to like pry open a box and then operate a lever will be pretty solid here.
Okay. So you are in magnificent luck. Oh my god. Because the room is presently being distracted, and this is your specialty. Not only do I have to show you my card first, but that difficulty drops all the way to one. One card. And this is what gets me, this is what's going to make you all very pleased and me very mad. This card is also a one.
I feel like
I feel like deckofcards.net wants you to win this game, so I'm just gonna lean into that.
deckofcards.net coming out as fiercely anti-colonialist.
Yeah, deckofcards.net is either an island in the Commonwealth or a bird.
I feel like this is like a run of Hades and we're getting all the good chaos boons right now.
Yeah.
So I this is very funny,
I'm just
and
gonna put this in the discard pile right away because I know you're gonna beat it. Go right ahead.
I kind of want to argue for overkill rules, giving like special bonuses, because I'm actually throwing a queen at this.
Oh my goodness. Cool. Right. That allows me to give you a cool thing to do. Um,
I mean, in fact, for more overkill, I will say that lady, as the social bird, has discerned through the web of feelings that interconnect all life that the janitor may have, in fact, some animosity for Mr. Red Robes over here. So, lady will endeavor to aid our magpie friend socially by swanning up and perching most neatly upon the great shaggy head of the red-robed one. And what a fine target I make until I don't. So here's another card for you. It is a 5, so that's 15
oh
for our
my
magpie
god.
friend.
Just just out of nowhere, just let's just shoot straight for 15. Okay, cool. You decide to get briefly involved in the Benny Hill skit that is taking place on the other side of this room with this janitor and this god. Um, you are the only person in this room who seems to see, yes, this janitor does in fact hate this guard. And you can tell, you can look at this janitor and know, no, yeah, he really is. They're diverting all of his hostile energy toward the god and making it look like he's trying to hit Jeremy in the sky instead. You are close
Jeremy
enough.
in the sky with diamonds.
You are close enough to hear the janitor whisper very awkwardly about a breakup, but you don't know what that means. Um, so while the guard is getting beat up in the corner with a broomstick, um, Max, you flutter over to the Fire button. No one notices you. Everyone is such in a daze in this room that even though you are right next to two humans, they do not see you or they do not see you or feel you at all. Um, you will, however, need to give me um another skill check to actually operate the claw under the word Fire. And that difficulty is going to be 2. But you do not have tool use, sadly, so you're gonna have to give me that before I show you.
All right. So with 2, going back to where my actual cards are, I'm going to throw out 16 with a 9 and a 7.
Cool. That definitely beats 8. This website is definitely run by a bird. It's a conspiracy, I know. um It takes a while and it requires all of your kinetic energy, but you do pull the claw down and you hear this large, loud, ringing noise in the entire room. And because nobody notices that you just pulled the Fury button, everybody thinks now that there is literally a fire. You hear you hear some of the humans like respond to the noise by going, I guess our vacation's just ruined today, huh? And just kind of scatter out of this room. You have no idea what they're on about, but they seem very excited to leave all of a sudden. The janitor is still very awkwardly beating up the guard when the guard is like, wait, no, orderly, ow. Orderly fashion folk, ow. Stop, please stop doing that. As everybody just keeps scattering out of this room. Um, and then they follow them out of the room as well. Um,
No, I think we maybe just found the thumbnail for this VOD.
oh god. Um, and as a result, it is now all of you in this room with Cliff the Rat, this loud ringing noise, and every shiny. All of the shinies presently unattended in this box.
Okay, we have not much time because more of the guys with the big hats are going to come in a minute. So we got to hurry.
Okay. Um, Cliff is like, so those boxes. I hear a lot of the humans talk about how those boxes um are not impossible to break, but very difficult. You may have to like throw the whole thing down, I think. But I mean, nothing for people who want to kill God, right? So I trust y'all. I trust you all know what you're gonna do next.
Lady looks over after having landed from the escapade with the two humans, looks over at Max, because obviously Max has seen and something like this, right?
Now, these boxes, they're designed to keep humans out, but, well, we are birds and obviously superior. So I don't have many cards left, but I feel like our options here are knock over the glass boxes or assert that as birds, like we can get beaks or talons into the edges of the boxes to pull them off. But as we're doing this, from the handle of the Fury button, Max is looking around for the other score, because along with the story from his mentor about the failed run on the ancestral shinies, there was the story of the shadow shinies, and that some of the other shinies that are as powerful, if not more powerful, are hidden in plain sight in the room with the ancestral shinies. And so Max is kind of trying to use his thieves' sense to understand where the humans would put shinies that are very important, but are not at, like, that the humans don't know that they're very important, except that the ones that are, it doesn't make sense, but there are special shinies here. And so instead of immediately going to pull to try to get to the box, Max is trying to figure out where the humans would be keeping the shadow shinies as he pursues his own agenda.
Aha. So, that means before you take your action, I'm gonna let you draw 3 cards.
Thank goodness.
Because you kind of need it.
Looks like we need to reshuffle, because there is 1 card left in the deck.
Yes.
2, 3. Okay, much better.
So, your difficulty is 1. because you're a thief, I'm gonna say definitely I should have to show you this first. So you have to beat a, what is that again? 10? Nope.
Well,
A check
whatever it
is
is,
11.
oh, okay. So if I get 11, I can do 11 because
Uh-huh.
it's meet or beat, right?
Um, I think so. Let's
The
just
total value of your cards and assists is equal to or higher than the GM's total card values. You succeed.
right. Yes. So yeah, that's yours. Um, right. So this is enough as a result for you to know a thing. Um, so while you are in the business of attempting to discover, um, not only how to deal with these shinies, but how to approach the, how to discover um, uh, the nature of the shadow shinies. Something like an idea dawns on you very briefly all of a sudden. Um, you've stolen from other humans before. You've stolen from humans with like very expensive, very flashy shinies before. And you've always noticed the exact same thing about most humans. Um, it is that when a shiny is particularly shiny, um, they never actually put those shinies away. Like you've stolen from humans who put things in large metal boxes with like wheelies in front that you have to start spinning in order to get those shinies and stuff like that. But there are always the shinies that they don't care about. It's always the shinies that they left there in the event that when they run out of shinies, they still have some shinies left. But you've seen a lot of people, especially some of the old people that you see pictures of inside the tower, um, like wearing and showing off their shinies. And those are always their best shinies. So it occurs to you, randomly, all of a sudden, is it possible that the shadow shinies aren't versions of these shinies that are not being displayed here, but that they're parts of these shinies that are so important that they have to be shown off because humans like showing off their shinies. Um, and that they're being hidden in plain sight so nobody knows that they're more or less important than any of the other shinies here. And that makes you think, that makes you briefly ask yourself, this room is full of shinies. Why didn't Cray ask for all of them? There are lots of shinies. There are sticks here just covered in shiny. Like, there is, you see a golden stick in one of these glass boxes that resembles wooden sticks that you've seen old humans use to walk in the park. And this stick looks just like those sticks, but is just covered in shinies. Um, you see a spoon that is covered in gold. You see multiple funny hats, none of which are as shiny as the hat that Cray told you to look for, but they're all still covered in shinies, and you're like, what's special about these shinies that they're being showed off? What if that's what the secret is? What if there's something special about these shinies that other people don't know? And now you're just kind of like briefly intrigued by maybe Cray knows something about these shinies that Cray will tell us when we bring those shinies back.
It's just turtles all the way down.
Yeah.
What if turtle shells are also shinies? Anyway, so now we should get the, we should do something about the glass cases.
Mm-hmm. You have the entire room to yourself. Um, no one has tool use. Um, But I will say that the difficulty in general is one card. Unfortunately, because nobody has any skills that I think, well, let me check again. It is theoretically possible.
Well, what is tool use but smarts with
Does
objectivity?
Chi Chi know the time honored human tradition of the smash and grab?
Um,
So hilariously, just so you know, Chi Chi as a jackdaw is in fact the smallest of all of the birds here.
yeah,
Jackdaws are they're very small.
I
I
think
So
Lady is the biggest.
yeah, I will say at the moment, um, no one presently has a skill that would be immediately um helpful in the goal of attempting as cleanly and as neatly as possible to get underneath any of these glass boxes. So it's just a matter of putting all of your heads together, figuratively or literally, in order to figure out what happens to these boxes.
okay, so while tool use is not Chi Chi's thing, are there any is there anything that was like unintentionally discarded by one of the fleeing humans? For example, the janitor's broom or something like that. Or did somebody drop something that could potentially be used to break glass? Um, or does Chi Chi know enough about how like doors work? I guess as human smarts knowledge, it's like, all
Hmm.
right, all of these things are going to have a way to get them open and closed because this is what humans do. They have to like care for stuff, dust it, which is weird because who cares, but humans care.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, she would be looking for either an object to smash glass with because yes, she is aware that glass is fragile and thus in theory smashable, or looking for some kind of a knob to open doors.
Hmm. You know what? A lot has happened. Um,
This may also
okay.
be a thief thing because as a thief, Max may also know how opening doors works.
Right, this might be a thief thing. The difficulty for this is 3 cards. But because you both have a thief and a smarts, it means that I have to show you that the result is 22.
All right. Well,
I'm equipped to assist if necessary.
I will give
I
Max
can
the
also
bet.
assist.
I'll give Max the benefit of the doubt. Knowing what you know or believing what you know, believing what you believe about the shinies means any act that you make in an attempt to gain the shinies is also fulfilling your own personal desire. So just take 3 cards before you play. Oh no, I didn't need to see that.
you didn't see anything.
I didn't.
Um, so it's 22.
Have I learned anything about humans that would allow me to draw more cards?
Mm, hmm.
Um, that's 22. 13 plus 9.
Oh.
Right, yeah, that's what math means.
So I can kind of come up with an idea of how Max kind of progresses here, if that's all right.
If you have an idea in mind, I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, so I think maybe there is there's a little, basically a little circular keyhole on the like rectangular box that the crown jewels are on top of. And so there's a key that you need to unlock, like use a key, you unlock, and then you press something that like raises the box. And so Max kind of flies over uses one talon to like hold onto the side, and then uses his beak and one talon as the uh, lock picking tools, and uh, then kind of swings with the panel as the panel swings open.
Just like turns in midair.
And then kind of makes happy chirps, which in English are, well, by God, I think I've got it.
Nice. Do you lift the box?
I think that lifting the box is probably like a group effort, right?
Yeah, I was
Because
about to say
that
the
gets us
same.
all right in front
I
of
am
the,
happy to pitch in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That because it's a physical activity, I'm just gonna say that that's um one card difficulty. Yeah, no, but I don't think anybody. If you had a brawler, this would be particularly useful at this moment as well. But at this moment, um, you'll have to play or beat whatever I am about to play before I can play it.
are we allowed to table talk about like suit, which suit to
Oh yeah,
use to coordinate?
you do whatever you need to play the highest number you can possibly play.
I can
what
put
can
down
I do with
a
the information? I can only play the card that I drew. I can't cheat you.
shall
I've
I
got
go?
one of everything, so just throw down whatever you feel like.
Cool. I'm the biggest one, so I put down a big.
And so this was one card you said?
Yes, one.
Okay, a king is all we need because there's nothing higher than 13, which is a king.
Lady lifts
Exactly.
the box and also lifts everybody
Logic!
else.
Okay. So uh the narrative nature of that mechanical role is um Lady looks at the box and goes, "Oh yeah, it's just clear. It doesn't look like anything, so obviously it should be easy to lift." And just kind of throws it up. It falls over the display pedestal that it was on and crashes to the ground. There is now another loud, spinny, sharp noise in the room on top of the loud, spinny, sharp noise that is already in the room. But now you have access to some, but not all, of the shinies. This box has three of the funny hats, including the funny hat that you're looking for, and the large gold eagle and the gold spoon. Which means that you could just take both of those and leave right now if you want. Lifting them, and in particular lifting the funny hat, um, will be kind of a challenge. But once you've succeeded in that challenge, it should be relatively easy for you at least to get far enough with those things to leave the tower and figure out what happens after that.
So my personal motivation is to fight something larger than myself, hence my mission to destroy God.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
so
Just the act of holding this funny hat in your hands fulfills this goal. Take
yeah.
3 cards.
So I was actually going to ask if throwing the box counted, but I shall take the 3 for holding the funny hat.
So right. So the difficulty for doing the thing is 3 cards. Jesus Christ, I hate this deck. Does anyone have a thing that would be useful in this moment? Mm,
You're the GM. We can't assist you.
I will say, I will say, because the thief has had to leave with shinies before, the thief at least knows from experience the effort required to lift shinies from a place. Which means that you all know you have to beat 6. This deck hates me or loves birds.
I'm
So
down for that.
I've found that when one is lifting multiple objects at the same time, you can use the largest one as a container for the smaller ones. So if we put the eagle and the spoon inside the hat, all we have to do is lift the hat.
It's kind of
Ah.
round. Maybe we can roll it.
Intriguing. We will need to get over, under, or through again, but it will get us out of this very loud room.
You all know already, and Cliff, who is still around and is watching very eagerly and wide-eyed, like the secondary character in a fantasy novel, um, reminds you. Unfortunately, I know that your cause is noble, and I would like to do whatever I can to help. But unfortunately, my uncle already told you that you can't pass back through the market. So I think over is your only way out, because through one of those guards will fight you again.
Uh, so you said that we had, or rather, Lady had casually tossed the box off to one collection of shinies, which included the very scary bird, the
Mm-hmm.
funny hat, and a spoon.
Mm-hmm. All of the
Um,
things that you were all of the things that you were sent to retrieve is now available to you in this moment.
okay.
Plus some
Are
extra
there
shinies if you
are
wanted.
there any small extra shinies in another box? Is what I'm asking.
The smallest shiny of them all is the spoon.
Okay. What's the next
Everything
smallest?
everything else are smaller funny hats, but like not so small that they would be like reasonably, like they look like they will all be reasonably similarly heavy to the funny hat that you came for. Um,
Ah,
Everything else is large gold sticks, many of which are like several birds tall and seem like they would require several birds in order to lift.
I was hoping for a ring, but that is okay.
Unfortunately, there are no rings. So if you all wanted to work together or separately to take to take one or more of these shinies into your own talons and beaks and lift them while flying, um, six is what you need to beat in order to perform that physical skill.
So when I've taken a vacation to the countryside, I've seen gulls lift large objects by carrying them between their talons as if they are flanked on the sides. I think we may be able to do that here, but we'll need to be coordinated. Chichi, I think you're going to have the best sense of how we could work together.
Okay. Look, so we are real close to one side of the wall. There's only one thing. Looking at the map that we are given, there's one thing between us and getting out of here, and it is some hawks.
They will be our friends.
Okay, but they are not like regular hawks.
They will be our friends.
I don't think they speak bird. They just make a loud noise, kind of like the alarm here, and they have glowing
Oh.
eyes, like they have ghosts inside of them, but there are no
Mm.
ghosts.
Should we perhaps instead try to fly over the mesh?
The mesh is a tilt, and if we don't make it, then you get all caught. It's a very challenge thing.
What if we go past the ghost?
Oh yeah, I mean we can talk to the ghost, sure.
Ghost seems like the least threat.
Yes. I've made many friends with ghosts. Let us go by the ghosts.
Okay,
Right?
but first you need to fly. So, beat the six to show me that you can get in the air with the shinies. Nice. It is not a problem at all for you um, to lift both the funny hat and the gold bird. And you're taking the spoon as well?
Yeah, I think the idea was to just put the gold bird and the spoon in the hat and then carry the hat.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
it's light enough for the biggest of you or any two of you to just hold in a talon each and just flap over. Um, as you head towards what is the northwest side of the outer wall, um, uh, you can notice that there are some guards who are like looking at you, and you can tell like they're very angry and very determined to do a thing, but they immediately seem very hesitant to engage for some reason. Um, Max, you're the only person who can possibly even just idly guess at the idea that maybe it's because they don't want to do anything to the shinies. Because if they hit you while you have the shinies, then the shinies fall. Um,
Who is helping Max carry the shinies? Because Jeremy J is going to be flying behind to provide back cover, essentially.
Um, Lady is the largest because he is a magnificent lad. So he could be carrying them solo, as stated by Brandon, or two other people could be carrying.
Yeah, I think Max is probably holding on, even if uh, Lady is like holding most of the weight, because Max wants to be close enough to like catch something if it falls.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lady is holding it because Lady can hold it. Max is holding it because Max is a thief and never wants to be too far from the shinies.
Yeah, I feel like Chi Chi then is at this point probably leading and surveilling. So.
You do know the area best because you are the smarts. So
Oh,
you're
yeah,
leading
it's
us out of
because
here.
I eat at the subway all the time. It's right next door.
So, as you now get closer to that outer wall, there is now a 2-card challenge for you all.
What is the challenge?
Um, as previously stated, Chi Chi knows that there is a ghost nearby in this direction. Um, this is to decide how the interaction with the said ghost goes. In fact, god damn it, because you have a social on the team. Um,
Hey, sup?
because the rook is here, I can tell you, you need to beat 12.
Oh, oh, oh.
Just this is the part
How
you just play a.
unfortunate.
Oh lord.
You know what? Lady does not do anything by halves.
Oh my god. Okay, cool. This is delightful. It means that now I need to qualify the ghost, so this is gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the roof of this part of the wall, um, and especially you, lady, because when every time Chi has said something this entire mission, you've had no reason to doubt that Chi was perfectly accurate, and yet you don't see what looks like. It doesn't look like anything is happening here. It just looks kind of still. Um, and then you see like the small white wispy shape emerge, rising upwards as if like lifting its way through the brick of the uh, ceiling of this wall. And you hear like this large human sigh come from this largely human shape, um, but doesn't look as solid as the humans that you've um, already met or interacted with. Um, what do you do when you see this ghostly shape?
Lady says, as Lady is wont to do. Hail, my sibling in existence. What brings you here that we meet?
Um, you take like moderately like just a kind of passing glance at this figure, and you get like some vaguely um more like a modicum of clarity about the shape of this reasonably human person. That this ghost seems to be the ghost of a thing that used to be human. Um, and you can make out that this is a very young girl human. Um, like can't can't even arguably have been in adulthood or been an adult for very long. Um, in like maroon silk robes. Um, it looks like she was one of the people who would wear the shinies that come in this place, but she strikes you as very, very young. Um, and she looks up at all four of you while you're like still in the air, even. Um, and sighs and goes, "What are you doing with those relics?"
Lady says, we are taking them to destroy God.
This girl chuckles a little bit and goes, "I'm not sure that the Lord can be so easily destroyed. Um, I admire the goal. Um, you birds look pretty and determined, and part of me admires that, but I'm not sure these do the things that you think they do."
Lady
What
replies, if she has finished speaking, I don't want to step on you.
um so this girl human walks up to you, lady, and goes, "What do you hope will happen when you destroy the thing you seek to destroy?"
Lady says, I hope that what is will no longer be, and I hope that things shall fall in disarray, and the people who have made what is possible from these things fall like wounded animals into the space meant for revelations.
Your challenge is one card. That card is an 8.
God damn. I was just hoping for a cup of peanuts.
Lady sees the emotion writ upon this young lady's face that is about the value of an 8 of clubs, and the emotion in Lady's body is of the Queen of Clubs.
Good lord. um God, this is wild. This is wild.
Do I have a ghost girlfriend now?
You do not.
Damn.
And then this became Hatoful boyfriend.
Body count not high enough for that yet.
um,
Well, it's humans, right? So one human is like 20 bird bodies. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
the deckofcards.net does in fact love birds and hate the crown, and I love it. Right. So this girl human walks up to you all, um, gives you just like the tiniest little scratch underneath the neck, and in this moment feels just as human as any other human, um, and says, I think that that's exactly what this nation needs. And just kind of briefly, you can see a kind of color return um, to this girl human's body, and you vaguely can tell that there is a photo of this girl human in an exhibit nearby about something called execations elsewhere in this building. Um, but you never really read it because you can't read human, never really mattered to you before. Must really matter to this building, and you feel like you've gotten the blessing as a result of something precious to this tower to go on in your mission to destroy God. As you all flutter off um, past the outer wall and past the moat, and back to Marleybone, where you meet Cray in his hole in his tree again, and present the funny hat and this large gold eagle to him, and you can see his eyes open very wide, like he was like tending to another pile of notes on that piece of paper with that piece of pencil in his beak, and turns his head 180 degrees to see you all, and then opens his wings very wide and starts grabbing you all in this large embrace. Thank you, finally. I've been waiting so long for these shinies, and finally a crew has brought it in my grasp. And he separates and starts thinking to himself for a bit, and then goes back to another part of his hole and takes like what looks like a large tin box. Like some of you have seen school children with these large tin boxes that they will take out their bread and their milk and stuff from. And he opens one of them and starts shoving birdseed in it with one wing, and then clasps it shut and shoves it towards Jeremy. Enough seed for all of you and all of your kin. And another part of the deal is, and he takes the funny hat into his talons and starts tearing off cloth from it and peeling off entire beads of shinies, and leaves every single shiny, like splits all of them evenly 4 ways except for the very big, very bright shiny at the top of it. He just kind of snaps off the cross at the top of it and holds it in his talon and goes, all of these are for you. Thank you so very much. Never speak of any of this to anyone, because very soon every bird in London will come to you all personally and bow in thanks. But the rest of what happens next, you are not allowed to see. Go back to your families. Go back to your loved ones. Know that you've done a good job this day and that I am in your debt. As he says that, you hear more knocks on the wood outside this hole, and you turn outside to see that there are now 4 blue jays on the branch outside, waiting to speak to Cray, and he goes, "Please go. Um, you will know when it is done soon. You don't need to know what it is, but know that you've just changed the lives of every bird." Um, and ushers you all off. As we lead into the epilogue, I would like to ask each of you to give me just a little montage snippet of what you do with your cut of the shinies and the seed that you have just gotten. Starting with Jeremy.
So, as we previously established, I live about 3 minutes from here as a crow flies in the eaves of a Chinese takeaway. Best goddamn Sichuan lamb you ever had, I tell you what. Mrs. hatched 3 eggs this year, so we got a lot of mouths to feed. We've been roosting here 4 years now. Couple that owns this place. The Wongs. Best goddamn humans in the world. Little Jimothy's flight feathers are coming in, and you know how chicks are when they fledge. Clumsy as shit till they get used to it. He's gone ass over tea kettle out the nest more times than I can count. And every goddamn time the Wongs see him on the pavement, they pick his little ass up and they put him back in the nest for us. After it rains, Mrs. Wong's always up on their ladder checking to make sure our nest didn't wash out. Mr. Wong leaves us peanuts and crunchy noodles. Saints on earth, the pair of them. But you know, they're getting up there in years, and Mr. Wong's got a bad back. He can't be standing over his stove all goddamn day anymore. And they've always taken real good care of me and mine. So I figure it's about time I return the favor. So there's birdseed for me and my family, and there's diamonds for this nice little old couple who always cared about a little family of birds up above them.
And as you flutter away, the camera just lingers on uh, this old lady cradling this tattered cloth full of jewels, looking at it very with like shock and confusion, and then looking out at the window, just barely missing the sight of Jeremy J just disappearing out of eyesight. Lady, what do you do with your cut?
Well, I'm going to assume that Cliff hitched a ride inside the funny hat because he disappeared most conveniently once we got to the part with the ghost.
Oh no, yeah, Cliff wasn't present. Cliff actually kind of saluted you all off as you took off and then went back to the market. Cliff just let you all fly. Cliff is not good with heights.
Okay. Lady understands. Lady has seen some shit. So what Lady does is Lady takes the spoon and goes to the underground market, and I imagine is recognized because they are banded, and when they are recognized, offers the spoon to Cliff, or an emissary of Cliff, or an emissary perhaps of his uncle,
Mm-hmm.
as a token and a reminder of the death of God.
And Cliff's uncle grabs the largest shiny on that piece of cloth, just pulls it off. Not very big, kind of actually. His hand kind of engulfs the entirety of the thing as he clasps his paw around this jewel, and he clutches it against his chest and goes, "I'm sure that it will be done soon." And throw it goes back into the market and throws it into the middle of the market and goes, "Chips and bread for everyone," and all of the rats cheer in the market as we cut to Max. What do you do with your cut?
So we we wipe from the kind of perpetually gray, cloudy skies of London to a bright blue sky and a like a sandy gold beach, beautiful rich blue waves, and we pull back to a like a shaded corner of a beachside bar in Portugal as Max is vacationing at São Miguel Island with uh, a shot glass, but it's a margarita in a shot glass because that's about the right amount of margarita for Max. And Max has like a tiny little bucket hat and is looking like very much like a tourist. But then, if it's okay, beside the shot glass margarita, Max has the map of the tower and is kind of studying it again, clearly preparing for the next heist for the Shadow Shinies.
Nice. And Chi Chi, what do you do with your cut of the proceeds?
Okay, so Gigi has talked to the swans. Swans are not ducks, but there are a lot of swans and they are real close to the subway. So she tells them how they have to stand in line. Subway has a special fabric pieces that tell you where you have to stand. And so you got to get to the line. And then when you get to the front, she gives them each a little bit of a jewel that they can give to be able to get the bread. Unfortunately, what happens is once they all go into the store and a human held the door, which is very nice. Humans can be very nice sometimes. I don't know. Pero, so they open the door and she walks in and all the swans are behind her and they all walk in. But the people don't take our shinies. They get scared and run away. I don't know. Anyway, we go into the back and we find the tower of bread. It's so tall. There's so many bread. Why do they have so many bread? I don't know. But it's our bread now. Every swan get a bread and Chi Chi get a bread too.
Nice. There is a very brief scene as you all are enjoying, just like lingering in this tower of bread and basking in the joy of being able to enjoy this much bread. Um, One of the sandwich artists of this subway steps back into the kitchen, looks around at all of the birds just flapping around in baked bread and goes, "Oi, what's all this then?" And then all of the swans turn to him with like violent intent in their eyes. And the camera smash cuts to the outside of the kitchen as you hear this man screaming in pain. Um, as we fade out of that subway, um, and all the way to the Palace of Westminster, as it has gotten far later in this day, literally moments until midnight uh, on the next day, as Cray is perched on the hour hand of Big Ben. In one hand, in one talon, he has um, the solid gold eagle, just like lingering there, and in his beak, he has the very biggest shiny in that cross of shinies from that funny hat, just settled perfectly center in his beak. And he waits just a couple of seconds until it turns midnight, turns the eagle statue upside down, pulls what seems to be a stopper from the bottom of it, and turns it over on his head as clear oily liquid, holy oil, falls onto his face and head and beak. And then he closes his eyes and squeezes very hard with his beak. And you see this shiny, which us humans know to be the Koh-i-Noor diamond because it's been declared missing earlier that afternoon, cracks in his beak and turns into so much diamond dust. And then the clock strikes midnight. He shakes himself a little bit, looks left, looks right, whispers to himself, "It is done," and flutters away. Behind him, a large susurrus, a massive murmuration of every raven that has ever settled in London as they leave the United Kingdom and never return. And that's Stone the Crows, everyone.
I
um, all of these birds don't know it, but we just destroyed the Commonwealth, and I'm very excited by the idea that four birds who had no idea what they're doing just destroyed the queen. I'm glad for that. Thank you all for indulging what was essentially I pitched this to all of these players literally this morning as this is just going to be descended seal with birds, at which point Yoi reminded me that everyone here is at an advantage as a result because we just have a natural affinity for birds in all of our games. So yes, this was wild.
due in part to my fault because I
Yes.
just put birds in all of our
In
games.
large
Just a
part to
little.
you, but yes. Thank you so very much for indulging this Caribbean man's attempt to destroy the queen. Thank you so very much for everyone who donated and got us to what is presently 5625. Thank you so very much in particular to the anonymous person who donated $500 and is still presently our top donor. Hopefully we can still outdo that today. That's gonna be wild. And a special shout out to someone who is no longer in chat but was briefly in chat. Grant Howitt was here. I was like, do I want to let Grant Howitt know that we're gonna destroy the queen? I'm sure he'd like to know, but yes, this was wild. I'm very excited that we got to do this ridiculous thing. We still have lots more to go. If we get to our next milestone, which if I'm not mistaken will be 5750. I'm sure Triffity Mats will correct me just now. But at that next milestone there will be another giveaway. Also congrats to everyone who has just won the previous giveaways. I think someone just won a an editing read from Triffity Mats that I'm very excited that someone gets to enjoy. I think that was Big Boss SNK. Congratulations to you. That's going to be dope if you have things to share. I look forward to your story receiving Triffid's blessing. Right, physical giveaway at 5750, which is very, very close. That's just literally $125 more. Y'all can do that while we go on break. So that's going to be dope. And again, thank you so very much to the players that we had this evening. This morning, I keep forgetting that it's actually dawn as we are playing. This never happens in a Strange Friends game.
For once, we have reversed time zones. It is night for me.
Oh God. So thank you so very much again. Before I ask everybody to remind all of these lovely people who you are and what you do, I remind again that there is still yet more of ArvCon 2022 to come. We have another Grant Howitt game to play later on. Michael R. Underwood.
I completely spaced that fact.
Yeah,
I
it just
realized
kind
this
of
morning.
it just kind of I spaced on it as well because I was like, how did Grant even know that we were streaming? And then I realized that Grant liked your tweet mentioning that you are going to be GMing the Damon Runyon Scientists in a game of Heart, which is going to be even more wild. If you are eager to see more uh, uh, dungeon delving magical artifact shenanigans, but also some more delving into a world that is broken by colonialism. Heart is also that. I'm beginning to think that this is Grant Howitt's niche. But that means that there is still more time for you to continue supporting ArvCon and continue supporting Damon Runyon. So exclamation point donate if you haven't donated already, or you still want to get in on any of the future giveaways. Exclamation point DRCRF for more information about the foundation and what they do. Please support. Please continue to give as much as you can. I'm glad to be able to be a part of this year's ArvCon again. I'm gonna continue doing so as long as you all are willing to continue being annoyed and really amused by the way that I have birds talk to my friends. But until the next time that you see us strange friends, I'm gonna ask all of these lovely people to please remind all of the lovely people in chat who you are, what you do, and where people can find you next. Starting with Mike.
Thanks so much for joining us, everybody, for our gloriously absurd bird crimes. I'm so impressed with everybody, and it's really fun to see the strange friends getting to kind of put on different role hats from what we've done with our longer running games. I'm Michael R. Underwood. Mike is fine here. I'm one of the co-hosts of Speculate, and you can see this wonderful cast again, I believe, on June the 5th. At 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is the 6th for everybody in Japan. And we will be continuing our game of Fractal Spire, which is different, but also tremendously chaotic. And that is very fun. And I stream video games at twitch.tv/turbotango. I will probably start playing Hard Space Shipbreaker pretty soon, and that's fun. And then in just over a half an hour, come back to this channel as I will be GMing a game of Heart, The City Beneath, for Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation Scientist Fellows. That's me.
Nice. Next, Yoy.
Oh no, my camera is doing something. Okay, well, I shall speak and hopefully not become a ghost in the machine. I am Yoi Gawain Lin, pronouns he, they. Today I have played Lady, a very interesting lad who is large and in charge. Game and fiction writer. You can find me on Twitter at This Is My Design. Design is spelled capital D-A-S-E-I-N. It is a Hannibal and philosophy pun. In Fractal Spire, as Mike mentioned, I am playing a very different person called Vermilion Jingwei Ruth, who has a lot of emotions that are not about God, but similarly distressing.
Nice. Let me just make sure that I am not frozen. I seem to be frozen. Aha, the internet is doing a thing again. God damn it.
Sorry,
Brandon,
you're
no!
going to have to keep talking about how great you are.
I'm not going to keep talking about how great I am.
The internet was
I
briefly
wonder-
weird, but I should be back.
Okay. I was about to introduce everybody else and how great they are before you, because you were no longer here to tell them to start talking.
I mean, we have to remember that when the internet is weird for me, it is weird for all of us, unfortunately. But yes. Thank you so very much. Next, Valerie.
Hello, I am Valerie Valdez. You can find me on Twitter at Valerie Valdez, says with an S if you're listening instead of watching. And you can also find me on Twitch at The Kids Are Asleep, which is when I play video games at 9 o'clock at night Eastern Time usually.
Nice. And last but not least, Iori.
Kusano Iori, they, them pronouns. Today I played Jeremy J. I would like to apologize to the good people of Massachusetts for the absolute hate crime that I perpetuated via my attempt at a Boston accent. You can find me on Twitter at Yori Kusano. That's IORI. There are no L's in my name. Kusanoyori.com. And my debut novella will be out from Neon Hemlock Press next year, 2023. Pre-order forthcoming sometime.
Yes, and I am very excited for all of those things. As for me, again, I have been Brandon O'Brien, your GM for this morning's game. I am one of the co-hosts of Speculate alongside Michael R. Underwood and our gracious host Gregory Wilson. As previously mentioned, we have yet another session of Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire coming up on June 5th. So if you want to see very nice conscientious people be reminded that the world sucks and then go into Dream World, that's going to be fun. Please check us out for that. Either live on June the 5th here on twitch.tv/ArvAndElron or on speculateSF.com so you can listen to the audio podcast version as well. And of course, exclamation point speculate for more information about how you can support the work that we do over at Speculate as well. I am also a poet and game designer from Trinidad and Tobago. I made a couple of things, including the Fugitives crew sheet that all of these lovely people played in our Blades in the Dark game for Speculate, the Case of the Sinded Seal, and the Sound Clash, which is presently being playtested on this channel as well as a playtest, actual play live stream. And I have a poetry collection called Can You Sign My Tentacle, which is out now if you want to read weird poems about the gods of the Cthulhu mythos asking rappers for their autographs. That was me. I am not going to take up any more time because Greg and Mike need to prepare in a half an hour for our next game, which I'm very eager to see more of. And plus, all of us now need to eat, or in Iori's case, sleep. So I'm just going to say thank you very much again for doing the loveliest thing that you can possibly do. At this point in time, which is support the work that Damon Runyon is doing to ensure that we can potentially live in a world where cancer is not as hostile to our lives and our safety and our comfort and our families as it presently is. Thank you for spending that time not only financially supporting this ArvCon, but actually sharing this information with everyone else. And letting other people know that cool things are happening this weekend. Thank you for sharing your space, your time, and your space with us. I hope that you will continue to do that as Heart is about to start in a half an hour. Please give all your love to the scientists in particular because they're the people who actually do the work that is necessary. So don't just be glad that they're having fun playing a game that they've never played before, but remind them that their work is actually groundbreaking and we actually value them for doing it. And I will now bid you all adieu so Mike can actually set up the stream. So thank you so very much again for joining us this evening. And we will see you all very, very soon. Stick around for more ArvCon content.